the people that get the most out of this program are the people that come in with open eyes and just want to have self-improvement. And I think those are the people that get the most out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun too, is you have 24-year-olds and you have old people like me. I was joking, I'm 46 this next year. But you have this, it's not just 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. You have people that have high experience levels that are saying, like, this is a good time for me to improve myself, be more valuable to my company, organization.
Yep.
So I think if you go in with that approach, you're going to have a great experience.
Should we dive in?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
For sure.
Okay. Well, welcome back to our podcast series, chatting with different leadership alumni from our program. I am Setareh Campion, Director of Programs at the Chamber, and I am joined today, I'm going to say your last name wrong.
Bjur. Yeah.
I'm joined by Craig Bjur, and let's dive right in, Craig.
Yeah.
Why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, and we'll see where this takes us.
Sure. My name is Craig Bjur. I'm the Executive Director for the Fargo Park District Foundation. So I've been a part of the Fargo Park Districts. I interned in 2002, which is hard to believe. So I've been there, long timer. And it's been such a great experience. The Park District grows right along with the city. And to be a part of the new foundation that really helped kind of build momentum for the Sports Center facility, which is now open. Phase 2 is now being completed here within a month. So it's been quite a journey personally, very fulfilling work, and was able to be a part of the Chamber Leadership Program, which was very valuable to me in many ways. So yeah.
That's awesome. We'll get into the leadership program, but I just did quick math. So you interned in 2002.
Yeah.
You've been with the Park District for 23 years.
23 years, and I actually worked part-time in college starting in 2000. I was dragging ball fields and chalking infields.
No way.
So yeah, so I've probably been on payroll since 2000.
So what did you start when you were 2 years old or what?
I was probably a sophomore in college, and I did the same kind of work in my hometown of Cullum, North Dakota.
Oh my gosh.
Where I took care of ball fields. I was a lifeguard.
So cool.
Baseball, I helped coach, so recreation's always been a part of my life, and that's kind of the career path I chose, from coming from a very small town to Fargo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a great choice. Fargo's been great to me and my family, and we've been here a long time.
That's awesome. Talk to me about the trajectory of like interning it so being an intern, you must have gone to school for recreation and things like that.
Yep.
I want to hear a little bit about that, but what has your ladder looked like from internship to executive director of a foundation? What roles have you held within the Park District?
Quite a few. I graduated from NDSU in 2002 with a recreation management degree with a business minor. I interned at the Fargo Park District. Great group over there. I just really enjoyed the people there.
Yeah.
So I interned in 2002. I worked throughout the year, even though I was at school doing different programs. Eventually got a full-time role in the recreation department as a specialist. Cool. So my boss at the time, Clay Whittlesey, great guy, and he really kind of helped build a position for me that fit my strengths. Cool. So I really started the outdoor rec programs. We did archery, kayaking, rock climbing, fly fishing, kind of all those types of programs that I'm passionate about.
That's cool.
So I was able to get that started. Hunter education, and then I took over men's league hockey and youth golf, special events. So I really kind of just kept building, my recreation programming over years, worked into special events. I always kind of got involved when we did needs assessment studies at the Park District. I got tied into those, which I wanted to learn more about that.
Yeah.
So I went from a recreation specialist to a recreation supervisor. And then when we did the needs assessment study in 2016 to identify really what indoor space we need in our community, Joel Vettel was our director at the time, and I think he saw something in me that maybe I could be a part of development work someday. So we realized we had to build this incredibly large indoor rec facility with indoor soccer fields, basketball courts, ice, multi-purpose rooms, walking track.
Yeah.
So I got tasked with, our first ask was a $10 million ask to a local organization. I had never asked anyone for any type of funding in my life.
Oh my gosh.
So it was, Joel definitely got me kicked off in this direction. And so certainly appreciate him and his leadership. And things have just gone really well. So I kind of started in project manager at the foundation, and it's been 2 years now. I've been the foundation director. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
What a journey.
Yeah.
You've really done it all. And it's cool that you have been able to almost put a stamp of your legacy on the different levels. I will claim to fame I worked for the Park District.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In college, I was a coach with the sports sampler.
Awesome.
Yep. So, hey, you might have been my boss at some point. What a small world. Were you involved with the sports sampler at all?
That might have been Jeff Heisler or Dave Klunt. I'm sure we helped in some aspects of it, but yeah.
I'm not sure. I just remember looking for jobs in college and thought, hey, this sounds fun.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That's how a lot of times that starts. So
yeah.
And recreation programming is, if you like working with kids, and there's just so many positives. I loved working outside so much in the summer.
Yes.
And so a lot of our jobs it's like the fun part of people's day. That's why I always tell people. So
true.
And we're kind of the part of the fabric of our community. We get to, the number of families that I have met during my career through the Park District is incredible.
That's awesome.
And now those kids are starting families, which makes me feel even older, but that's where we're at.
That is, yeah, it is where we're at, right? We kind of overlapped a little bit. Now it's like, oh, what are the kids doing and what are they involved in? And we were just chatting about the new building. If people who are listening haven't been out there, it's phenomenal. And I think so many people don't realize what's available out there. So if you want to give a little shout out to this new building and all that you guys have, now's the time. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So the Fargo Park Sports Center facility was really the foundation was started to help for the capital campaign of that project. We just really realized that we needed to have private partners to make this building as big and as impactful as possible. So this facility, which phase 1 opened in June of this summer, indoor soccer field, indoor walking track. Phase 1 had 4 basketball courts, community rooms, Park District offices. Phase 2 is now being completed and will be done here and available to the public in January. That'll be 4 more basketball courts, 6 pickleball courts, indoor playground, 2 more community rooms, and 2 sheets of ice.
Yeah.
So all in all, the building is 393,000 square feet.
It's huge.
It's just
big is an understatement. You've used the word big a couple times. This place is huge.
It's enormous. And in comparison, the Fargo Dome is 248,000 square feet. So just to give you a comparison, the footprint is another half as big as the Fargo Dome.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, where we're getting after the new year, when the building is fully open here, that's when we're going to see all the activity. We could have 160 volleyball teams, just under that one roof. We could have soccer tournament going on, hockey tournaments. Our community arts could be going on in the building at one time. So what's really unique about this space is the fact that it's almost like 4 buildings under one roof. And what I always think about, as a hockey family, in the winter you just see your hockey families and friends because that's the world you're in. Well, in this building you'll see your neighbors who are also in volleyball, basketball, or like football, or walkers.
Yeah.
So the community feel of this building is going to be very unique.
I think that's my favorite part, and I've had a couple tours, which has been such a treat. But we're a hockey family too. But I coach volleyball, and so what's really fun is even in the one tour I was there, I got to see some of my volleyball girls who play basketball, and they had a tournament or a showcase going on, and then I saw a couple friends who one had recently had a baby, and they were coming to walk the track, and so I got to see them when I was there for a tour, and it truly is like a hub. And I'm not a Fargo resident, but I'm still welcome there. I can still come in and hang out. And so I think that's honestly, the cool, I didn't really think about it until you said it, but it is the community coming out and connecting in this one space.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Yeah. And I think that I love giving tours to people, between donors and community leaders and people of the community, just because you drive by it and you realize it is big.
Yeah.
But until you walk through the space, you just can't grasp the vastness of it.
You can't.
So it's really fun. I think I've given over 200 tours when I look back at my calendar. And people are like, that's a lot of tours. I'm like, it is, but I enjoy doing it because you just see people light up when they come into space. And they're like, wow, this is incredible. So it's kind of fun.
I would not have guessed you've given that many with how excited you still are when you give tours.
Sure.
So truly, if people want to, can they reach out and get a tour from you and
sure
try to set something? I mean, it's just so cool. There's community spaces. We were just talking before this about bringing a group in, the leadership group actually, to come in and host a session there. And you guys do catering. You do tours. People can take a break and have a walk. So if you're there in the middle of winter, you're not stuck.
Yeah.
I ran into a high school classmate, believe it or not, at an event recently. And she said, yeah, I'm walking a mile every day at work because now I hop on the track in the morning. I take my break in the afternoon. And she's like, it's crazy. I'm like in the best shape of my life and I never leave the office. I'm like, gosh, that's awesome. So,
yeah, the track alone has been so well received just because what we notice now is so many, if you're bringing your kids there for a practice, well, during that hour practice, you can go for a walk or a run. And the track is 350 meters in 3 lanes. So it's only 4.5 laps to a mile. So the track is huge.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
So many of those indoor tracks, you're doing a mile and you have to do like 16 laps.
Correct.
You lose count and you feel like you've been running for days. That's the best part to me.
Yes. So I think, and then the track for people listening is in the turf facility. And that part of the building is a 95,000 square foot space.
It's huge.
So when you're walking on an elevated track, you get to see all the activity on the turf. When you walk to the corners, we have big glass windows so you can see outside.
Yeah.
So the track has been a huge hit. And of course, anytime people can stay active, walk with your friends, just that little thing, that's what it's all about for the Park District, get people active.
Yeah. You didn't miss any details. That's for sure.
Well, we'll see. We always talk about there's going to be something, but I think what we did that was so intentional was we studied a lot of other facilities before we finished design.
Yeah.
So we literally toured like 12 other facilities. We would ask people, what would you do? What did you do well? What would you do differently?
Yeah.
And it was so funny how people would be so quick to be like, oh, if we could do it over again.
Really?
Here's the 3 things I would do different.
Yeah, but you got to steal all that.
Yes,
That's
100%. So, it was always, more storage, of course, came up, but having, in our building, we have a 2nd floor lounge space, which is over 10,000 square feet. And it's literally just space for families to grab lunch, grab coffee, get away from the crowds.
That's cool.
We have interactive games for siblings, wall things that they can move around, stay active.
Cool.
We have an indoor playground in the space.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
So I felt really good that we took the time to do the best design possible. I'm sure we'll find things that we wish we'd done a little different, but we spent a lot of time trying to do it right the first time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so cool. I know you probably didn't plan on coming in here and sharing all this, but it's probably one of my favorite things the community is doing right now. And like I said, I've had 2 tours and I'm just excited. I get to have a baby soon. By the time this comes out, the baby will be here, but I've already got like plans for multiple times a week just with friends. Like, hey, we're going to meet on Tuesdays. We're going to go walk for an hour. I'm pumped. And I don't have to walk 16 laps. That's, you get dizzy walking in circles. So excited. And like you said, hockey family, this town needs more ice. We both know that. So, we're excited.
Yeah.
So I'm going to transition one other really cool piece that I heard, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. One of our other alumni for his community change project, it wasn't accepted, but one of the things he wanted to do is get adults changing
Yes.
adaptive tables into the bathrooms, and you guys have that in the building. Is that accurate?
Yes. Actually, I was giving a tour and he pulled me aside afterwards and told me about his idea. And thankfully, it was early enough in the process that we could incorporate that into the building.
So cool.
So Kaylee Mork, who's the director of the new building, is a former Leadership alumni as well.
Yeah.
So we connected on this. We were able to do this because he told his story, and I'm like, 100% this makes sense.
So cool.
Yeah. So we have an area in the space. If someone with additional needs, that they come as a group and they have that situation, we have a space where they can a changing table for youth or
nice.
adults.
That's awesome.
Because he would tell stories about having to go back to the facility and then come back if that happened, and we're like, we don't want to have that situation here. So that was. That was just another example of someone having an idea that makes total sense, and we were able to do it.
I love it.
And I think he was able to see it now, and he's like, "This is perfect."
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And that you guys were willing to make the adaptation, just saying like, "Hey, you know what? This is a need. Let's do it."
Absolutely.
I love our leadership network, and I'm going to transition us into that with that piece. Tell us about when did you go through the program? What part of your life was that in? And yeah.
Sure. So I was a part of the 2017-18 class.
Okay.
And what's so funny is that this project, the Sports Center facility project, was started in 16 as just an idea.
Really?
So I literally went through this class as we were just getting some critical steps done, between the funding and the planning. So a lot of my classmates in leadership who are still good friends to this day with me still talk about, man, this was a long process to get this done. And they got to be a part of it as far as I shared with them what my role was, got feedback from them on like,
cool.
How's this sound? Does this resonate? So it's been really fun. And we're actually going to get together our class here first week of January, maybe do a quick tour of the building. And we're going to have a little get together afterwards. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was really a great, I was crazy busy at that time, but leadership training has always been important to me.
Yeah.
So the class was great. I also got to meet, anyone that's done this class knows that you walk away with friendships and connections that will never leave you.
Yeah.
So I have a core group that we talk all the time, and both professionally and personally. And it was, I just remember my wife is like, "You're going to do this with what's going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, and it's going to be great." And it was.
Yeah.
So
that's so cool. So essentially when you went through the program, you were in a transition phase. So is this when you had stepped into more of that foundation role outside of like general park?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That's 100% accurate. So when that'd have been spring or summer of 17. So yeah, I just had been transferred over to foundation work as a project manager.
It's a whole new life.
And it was just getting the foundation up and running. Of course, I was so green at that time and learning.
Yeah. But
one thing that I always tell people, I'm smart enough to know when I need to ask for help. And I lean on a lot of people. I was able to get mentors for the fundraising side, like an Irv Vinegar, John Pierce, Scott Holdman. I kind of was able to surround myself with incredible experience, incredible people.
Yep.
People in the chamber leadership class that just had a piece of, were helpful with me understanding different aspects of just the corporate world too. So yeah, it was just a great experience. I'm so glad I did it. And I text, I'd say once a week, I'm in contact with someone from my leadership group.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love to hear those stories being newer to the program.
Yeah.
It's so fun to hear that you are all still connected. And it's nothing that we're doing. So that's the fun part because it's true connection, right? I want to sit with the quote you just said, smart enough to know when to ask for help.
Yeah.
Has that been something that you learned early in your life, or is that something that you picked up more later? What was that like?
I think I had, growing up, I was just grateful to have good people around me. And when I was very young, someone said that to me, be smart enough to know when to ask for help.
That's awesome.
And that resonated with me. It was actually one of my best friend's dad, who was a farmer, but he said that to me, and I was probably 12 years old. And I told him last year, I'm like, I still use that saying, like,
That's awesome.
on a monthly basis. But what he was talking about is just when you don't pretend or don't take the hard road, like ask for help. And then having mentors too has been so vital to my personal growth, I would say.
Yeah.
So I didn't know Vinegar at all. I cold called him and I just said, hey, I got this new position. I had this monumental task of raising millions and millions of dollars that I need to be a big part of. And we met for coffee, and that was in 2017. So that was kind of fun. And we probably still talk every other week. And and then he connected me with another group of other people that could help me in this, down this road. So yeah, it's just, I've learned from tremendous people, and I've been grateful and thankful for, to think about when I took the class to where I am today, it's just hard to kind of wrap your head around. So
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so mentors, you mentioned one. How have you been able to then turn around and like pay it forward? Have you been able to mentor anybody else as they've come through their journey? And
yes, absolutely.
How would you recommend doing that?
I think, on the Park District side, there's more and more foundations now that are part of park districts.
Totally.
Grand Forks has had a great foundation. They were able to raise money for the Choice Fitness facility. So Jill and Brandy there were helpful in my journey. We now also have, we meet quarterly as a state.
Cool.
All the foundations. So I think I've been able to kind of be the mentor instead of I've gotten the other side of this now a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy to do, because I was obviously in their seat 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure this out. And so, I think I've had many people reach out, just ask about my journey, what has worked for me, what hasn't. I'm always happy to share that information, because I wouldn't be here if someone didn't do that for me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You have a unique perspective too, being a small town kid who came to a bigger community, and then the way that you worked up through the Fargo Parks, world into then this fundraising role. You really have touched and seen it all.
Sure.
And I love that you bring in the leadership connection and saying that you still talk to a lot of people in your class.
Yeah.
Were any of those connections helpful in this transition or in the fundraising or any of the sessions even? Were any of them super impactful in taking you from new job, new life into, you've exploded it.
No.
In a good way.
Sure. I would, I'd say what I always took something away from the leadership training classes, as far as I picked up one or two things that, a lot of it was just communication, where I can't remember who it was that was speaking, but they just talked about the importance of communication and, how you present yourself. And so I always approach those sessions like, if I can learn 2 or 3 things today, I'm going to better myself. That's 1%.
Yeah.
That was my goal. And, I think that, there was a lot of the speakers or the presenters that day, but again, back to people in the class, it was just that connection to, one of my 8 people that are kind of my core group now. It's like, they were just that connector for me too, as well as like, well, I know so-and-so that might be able to help you, or, so it was just, I went into it, that class, just wanting to learn as much as possible.
That's awesome.
And then the networking side was obviously really big. Because it's amazing, and we see the growth, and I can name 6 or 7 people that have steadily climbed up their ladders and done amazing things as well. And so it's been a fun journey.
That's so cool. That's probably my favorite part, is looking back at classes and seeing where people were at. We interviewed in one of our previous episodes, Sam, who is actually, shout out, our podcast producer as well.
Nice.
But he talked about his journey too when he started. And so it's, and where it took him throughout the sessions. And I think that's such a common theme we're hearing from all of our alumni, or even me as I meet with different people, just to hear about their experience and things. And you said something that has been a theme too, is you get out of the program what you put in.
Absolutely.
And the content is great. Obviously, I'm going to say that.
Sure.
Come and learn and be a better leader, but it's the people.
Absolutely.
It's the people that you're willing to connect with. It's the conversations in breaks and during lunch. And then it's listening to the stories from our presenters of here's what I've learned
Yep.
and being willing to say, they did the lesson. They lived it. I get to steal it
Yep.
and I can implement it in my life. So
Yeah.
I love that piece. The program has been around since 1989. Thousands of alumni out there. So it's fun to hear that you're still connected with, core people in your class. And
Yeah.
we know that that's kind of the common theme.
One thing that was unique about our class is that a few of us ended up helping to be on the planning committee for the leadership class afterwards for a few years.
Love it.
Which was really fun because I felt like our class just it was such a unique group, and we just had maybe just a little twist on how to, adjust it a little bit and make it, every program should always try to make tweaks to make it better every year,
Absolutely.
which I think it's done. So I was able to be a part of it on the planning side, which is a really fun experience.
Yeah.
And it's been great. There's people at the Park District that have gone through it since me, and
Yeah.
they have the same experience I did. They're like, I met so many great people
That's
in
the
this,
best part.
which is awesome.
Yeah. And we still have the planning committee. So if people are listening and they want to get back involved,
Yeah.
I always say I can't do this on my own. I could never do it on my own.
It's a lot.
It takes a whole village. But we believe the same thing. A small tweak every year. If we can make just a minor change to improve the experience or even just follow trends, leadership development is changing. But I love that we have alumni voices directing the program.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through it now 1 year.
Sure.
But, if we have people from class of 2016, class of 2020, class of 2024, talking about their experiences. Hey, we loved this. This did not hit for us.
Yep.
And that's the same with everything we do, right? Like with fundraising, you go and do an ask and you get a no. You're going to change your approach a little bit for the next person. That's
Yes.
kind of life. So,
Yeah, I think if you're always willing to learn and adjust and improve, and that's how I approach my job, and that's very true. I mean, it's so funny how people that are always willing to learn, and have that approach to life are the ones that succeed. The people that feel like I got it all figured out, you're going to crash and burn.
it's usually when you fail.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think what's fun is there's just a lot of humble people that are just saying, here, I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. I'm here to do the best I can. And what's so fun too is you have people that work in nonprofits
Yeah.
that are doing amazing work, amazing stuff. And then you have people that are presidents of corporate, and you have that blend of people in our community that makes it really unique.
Definitely. It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I keep saying the whole thing is my favorite part, really.
Sure.
So one of the goals of this podcast is to bring alumni together, share the stories and the legacy of our program, but also for those curious about applying to the program, what piece of advice or statement would you tell them to help kind of with their decision making?
I would say the people that get the most out of this program are the people that come in with open eyes and just want to have self-improvement. And I think those are the people that get the most out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun too, is you have 24-year-olds and you have old people like me. I was joking, I'm 46 this next year. But you have this, it's not just 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. You have people that have high experience levels that are saying, like, this is a good time for me to improve myself, be more valuable to my company, organization.
Yep.
So I think if you go in with that approach, you're going to have a great experience.
I love it.
So I would just encourage people that if you're thinking about improving yourself as a leader, if you're wanting to learn more about our community, because you learn a ton about Fargo-Moorhead community during the process, and you really want to meet some amazing people that are also trying to improve themselves. I mean, it's just, if the timing's right, do it. I mean, it's such a unique opportunity.
Put it on a t-shirt. We'll take it. That was perfect.
Yeah.
But I echo all of that. It's really for the people who want to take that next step.
Yep.
If you think you know everything, might not be the program for you.
Yeah.
But the quote we're sitting with, right? Be smart enough to ask for help or to know when to ask for help.
Yep.
That's this program. We're we're going to dive into things that might not be new for some,
Sure.
but you can always grow a little bit every time.
There's always ways to learn, and it'll come in different forms too. It's like even the connections. One of the speakers at the program now I talk to every couple months, professionally, and it's like if I would have taken that class, I don't know how I'd have made that connection. So
totally.
So there's just it just comes in different ways for different people, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I think it's a time commitment. I mean, there's no doubt, and you're going to work.
Yep.
But what you get out is just so much more profound than what you put in my opinion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one final question that we ask every guest.
Yeah.
What is a leader?
That's a great question.
Or who is a leader? It's up to you how you want to
Sure.
frame it.
When I think of true leaders, I think of people that are able to motivate and to build the people around them and bring them to the next level.
Totally.
So that can be by, demonstrating the ability, what you ask of your staff to be able to do it yourself. But when I think of leadership, and the people I think about are true leaders, are just motivational. Mm-hmm. They walk the walk. They always leave their staff in a better position than when they got them.
Yeah.
So I think just growing your staff, them to feel supported, them to feel like their work is important. Mm-hmm. I think that's one thing I've learned over time. I didn't have that same probably thoughts when I was just out of college. I thought of it very differently now, but
yeah.
As I've gotten older and as I've lived a little bit more life, it really is, can you bring a staff? And like for me now, I have a foundation board that I work with.
Yeah.
And it's like, how effectively can I work with it and then bring their skills to help our foundation? Mm-hmm. So it comes in many different forms, but a leader when you see one, and it comes in many different forms.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And I would say just knowing you over the last few months, which it's been so fun to get to talk to you and get to know you more and get to experience, your world a little bit. You're definitely doing that. And it's been really fun and excited to be along for the journey and get to see what you guys are doing out there. So
yeah, it's been great. It's just fun to look back. I always talk about our foundation board is celebrate the wins. Like fundraising especially is such an interesting dynamic because you have these incredible highs. You might go on a stretch of not getting a lot of yeses, getting a lot of no's.
yeah.
So we really try to celebrate even the little wins.
Yeah.
Just celebrate those because you can spend 9 months working on something and it's a flat, didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I've just learned to be humble and celebrate any little win, focus on our mission. We're helping our community. We're going to do great things. Yeah. And what's really fun from, personally is just that our foundation is so young. We're 6 years old. We've raised $45+ million for our community and value. And we're just getting started. I mean, I feel like we're going to do the next 10 years is going to be another great journey. So excited to get that going too.
We're just getting started.
Yeah.
We love it.
Just getting started.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in today and just really talking us through what you've been up to over the last few years and just your life in general. And you have so many good leadership nuggets. I've learned just a ton sitting across from you today. So appreciate it. And thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll be in touch because we're going to get the class out there and it's going to be awesome.
Yes. Happy to have everyone out. And I'm always an advocate for this program. I think there's such good things and they'll continue to get bigger and better. And our community is such a special place. And this program is kind of one example of that. So
awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. And shout out to Craig for being here today. And we'll catch you on the next episode.